Welcome to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay, a podcast for the soul. Today we'll be talking about the current cosmic energies. And without further ado, I'd love to pass la taza to T for the transits of this week. Welcome, T. How are you?
I am good. Thank you. Thank you, Shay. And hi, everyone. It's so good to be with you again. So we're going to talk about the transits from August 9th to the 15th. And the first thought I have, even before I go into that, is that someone mentioned to me that they're not understanding some of what we're saying. And so my suggestion is not to get caught up in words like trine or Chiron, or, if you're not understanding that, because it's quite simple. We're just putting that out there for people who are more aware of the different planets and how they affect each other, like what the positioning is. But everything that we say, you can throw those words out, and that's the reading for the week. All right, just to like keep it really simple. But if you want, I think we've mentioned before, you can write about it. Write Sun in Leo. Like, what did that mean for me that day? How was I feeling that day? If you journal it, and then you can learn astrology more intuitively than just intellectually, right? And just like understanding words, it's so much deeper than that, and it'll give greater understanding.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Take notes too of some of the keywords that are coming up for you. Like, what are the words that are resonating with you? And like T mentioned, just journal and write about it. I would say even have, I do this personally where I write in my journal, like the transit for that day, a word, a keyword for that transit. And then that's how I process the transit because it is a lot. It could be a lot and very logical. But if you just bring it down to one word or a couple keywords, that'll definitely help to better understand what we're speaking about or even the transit. But yeah, don't get caught up of the small details. It's more about the message that we deliver for sure.
Perfect. Okay. So the first transit that we're going to be visiting is Sun in Leo, trining Chiron in Aries, and that's going to be from Friday, August 11th to Sunday, the 13th. This is going to be an opportunity for you to address what's going on in your heart. What is the medium for deep healing of past hurts that you may have experienced and continue to drive you relentlessly? There are some things that we just have a hard time working through. So rather than keeping them in the mind, the suggestion is to talk to someone who's neutral, someone who's objective, someone who's going to help you stabilize with this information. And not elevate to, oh my God, this thing happened. Oh. Like, you don't need to do that at this point. I mean, if you're there, that's fine because we all go through stages and phases. But it's something where with a neutrality to it, you can have different understandings. I would say to think of this as envision yourself on the DNA helix, right? That it seems like it's the same place, but it's not because you're higher up on your helix. And this can help you to release what is no longer serving you. Aries is currently the focus of the North Node. And it gives you the prospect of allowing old hurts to come through, process them, nurture them, digest them, and then release them. Um, you know, North Node, if you think about, and I don't want to get too into this, but this is what they're showing me right now to tell you. There's the head of the dragon, there's a tail of the dragon. And that's what we're always looking at, right? The head and the tail. But what's in between? It's the stomach. How are you processing it? Just like you process your food, process the experiences that you've had, and then
Beautiful.
release.
I love the dragon, the head and the tail. And if you think about the head and the tail of the dragon, beginnings and endings as well. It's like you know thyself and come back to thyself in that image of the dragon. This is a transit about things that have kind of surfaced recently, maybe, or for years. And this is an opportunity, like a little break, a little breather to literally breathe and heal. If any parts of yourself you felt kind of lost or needing to come back to the self, this transit will help with that. It's a transit about free flowing. It's a transit of ease. So there's a lot of realization, oh, how much you healed. And by realizing how much you heal, you bring appreciation and gratitude to that. And remember, transits go in almost like these cycles. So this could be like a little break for us. This is the cycle of like breaking through all the healing that we've done. And with the sun in Leo, this is a lot about the self, the ego death, right? Ego death is when you're not stepping into your ego to interact with the world or with yourself in that matter. You're more interacting from a place of humility, love, and kindness. And then Chiron, a wounded healer, he's also a great teacher and is showing you those pockets of the healing that you've done. And this is, take it as a little break, take it as a seat and the bench for now. And I would say journal about this. What are some of the things in your life that you've noticed that you've overcome, you've been able to break through? And then give yourself a hug, gratitude, and thanks for that, because it's a major aspect in our lives as we go through it, right? It's a journey.
That sounds great, especially for those of us who are so driven to
Yeah.
actually like sit on the bench, right? There are benches that are available, like when you're walking through the park or taking a run or something, and it's just like we are so driven that it's like just keep going till you get to the end and then get on to the next thing when you can actually just sit down and just like take a minute and breathe. And that's
Yes.
life, right? Breath.
Mhm.
So it's very, very cool. The second transit that we're going to talk about is Sun in Leo squares Uranus in Taurus from Monday the 14th to Wednesday the 16th. This can be a dramatic transit that brings unexpected. The energies may be disruptive in your home or in relationships. So use your energy intentionally and not just like let life happen to you. Like you can be unhappy with other people's restrictions on you, and they as well might be unhappy with your restrictions on them. So just be aware of that. Just be aware of I don't know, I'm thinking about what Shayla just spoke about, like, you know, bringing the kindness in, bringing the quiet in, bringing the stillness in, bringing the compassion into this time intentionally rather than just letting life erupt. Be aware that this is a time for fender benders. There could be like clumsy home accidents. So just be aware. It's not like these bad things are going to happen to you. Just be aware, or you could just wrap yourself in bubble wrap.
Nothing bad. Bubble wrap, right? The safety, the security of things. I mean, this transit absolutely needs us to have some time of quiet and stillness, because there's two sides to the coin with this transit. One is being frustrated, feeling like everything is kind of like all over the place. And then the flip side of that is liberation. So it's really up to us to decide, do we want to be disruptive, right, in our day to day when this transit happens? Or are we willing to work with it and flow with it? Because Uranus, the planet of liberation and freedom, she's tied to Aquarius, wants us to go with the flow. It wants us to break free. It's like full arms open, but it could be erratic energy, but that's okay, because if you go with the flow of it, there's more breakthroughs than if we go against it or resist it. Either choosing to be frustrated or choosing to go with the freedom aspect of it. Some of us might also feel nervousness to speak and speak our truth. And that's Uranus being like, hey, shaking us up, like, wake up. This, you have to communicate. This is something important to you. Speak on it. This will liberate you. I got throat chakra for this transit, where some of us are not connecting to the throat chakra, which is connected to Taurus. So we're not connecting, we're not saying what we have to really truly say. And that is Uranus coming in and being like, you have to speak your mind, you have to unlock it, unlock yourself through self-expression, and not with frustration or anger, but rather speaking your truth, being you, being who you want to be during this transit. And yes, this will help us to unlock again the throat chakra, our self-expression, our thoughts. Be mindful again, like T mentioned, accidents. Take it slow. Practice silence also, and practice patience. during this transit.
That was so cool. I'm sitting here and I'm saying, Penny, is that fair that I'm actually getting a reading from Shay right now? Because I felt like you were talking to me. I have Aquarius as my midheaven,
Oh,
right? And
yes. No, Leo is your midheaven. Your moon is in Aquarius.
oh, right. But you were talking to me. You were talking to me anyway, because when you said that about gee, that's so interesting because I always mix up my midheaven Aquarius with my Leo because I always think that my Aquarius is up in my midheaven. And I felt like you were talking to me though anyway. And I was listening to everything that you said and I'm taking it in. So I want to thank you for this reading that you just gave me.
Yes. It's always that's what we're here for, right?
Oh my goodness,
And
especially
I totally feel like Chiron today, everyone, because I've been feeling that this whole week to be quite transparent, right? To use the throat chakra. I did injure myself. So I've been taking it very easy. It's been really hard. But at the same time, during this time of like pain and like rest, I've been able to help a lot of people and like help myself. And this time to connect to the inner child and connect to healing. So I just wanted to throw that out. I'm totally like the Chironic energy right now. The wisdom teacher. So if I do share some info that resonates with you, write it down and process it like tea, right? Take it in. Yeah, for
that's so
sure.
cool. Super cool. Thank you.
You're so
Oh,
welcome.
and I also love that you know my placements. That is so cool. You know my placements. All right. So our next one is Venus in Leo squares Uranus in Taurus, Monday the 7th through Friday the 11th. And this is a transit which you might find a little bit, you might find yourself being a little bit demanding in your relationships, asking them to fulfill your needs. Um, it's okay to ask for what you want. We should all ask for what we want, ask for what we need. There's a difference though between being needy and continually like I need this, I need that, but like have some balance with there. And you know what your relationships are. You already know what the patterns are. So it might be a good thing for you to start asking for what you need. If your relationship is flexible, it can withstand a bit headstrong love desire. Um, you know where you're at in the relationship, and it can also help you to elevate in your relationship, help you to get to the next place, depending on how you work it, so that you're not at the superficial. Like new relationships sometimes like they don't really know the true you yet. It takes some time to get there. This week might be that time, that this transit might be that time to do that. During this period you might be flirtatious, you might have a tendency to spend more excessively. Be aware of that. Go to a museum, go to somewhere pretty. Enjoy the largesse of this transit. However, remember that, it's over Friday the 11th. Are you going to still love yourself Saturday morning? How big were you? How much did you expand these last couple of days? And, be aware that this transit will be over, and will you be able to live with that?
I love that. Like looking the next day to be like the self-love that he mentioned. And with the trans, I'm getting a little bit of shaking us underneath our feet, shaking our earth a little bit is not going to be super detrimental. I feel with this trans is going to be more about like mindfulness of course, our demands. But I'm going to mention one thing about demands. If we're asking for demands to others that we're not doing for ourselves, we should not be asking. We should be mindful of that because Venus is in retrograde. So it's all about the inward. So we're looking outside for things that we have accessible within. We have to evaluate that. And Uranus is there to teach you that. Free yourself from codependency or demands of others or expectations of others, because it all lives within you. You can also do it. You can be the feminine and the masculine all in one, right? And being mindful of that. Also being mindful of not having to argue with people or act quickly, or people also coming to you and very quick energy. So just communicating, hey, give me a moment. Let's retract. Let's talk about this. Let's communicate this way. Freedom in relationships. If you're thinking about there's something in your relationships that you would like more to expand in, this is going to give you that opportunity. But you have to you have to be conscious and aware of it. You have to make an intention of it, for it to bring some breakthrough in relationships, and just mindfulness of like your own love language and people and their love language, and vice versa, because a relationship, Venus is asking about both. Overall, with Venus being there, is not going to be a super detrimental transit for us. It's going to be more of I feel like a teaching transit, a spark of inspiration for us. And definitely self-love is in the center of it.
So the next transits that we're going to be looking at is Venus in Leo trining Chiron in Aries, and Shayla's already spoken about Chiron, the wounded healer, Saturday 8:12 to Tuesday 8:15. Venus can actually be the balm that heals if you take your time with her. Allow her sweetness to give you what you so deserve. Look at the good things that are coming to you during what could be a difficult time, because Leo is out there, Aries is out there. They're both very fierce, and but the trining brings something that's sweet here for you. So just in terms of like mundane life, it's like, has Venus, has she invited you out to dinner? Has she spoken words of comfort to you? Regarding all the realizations that have been revealed. This is a big week for inners to become outers. So, again, be kind to yourself. This is, what Shayla was talking about, the inner child. This is a period of a lot of this happening. And how am I treating myself? With clients, I often say, when the inner child comes up, it's like, okay, so like, what would that inner child of yours like? Do you want a ribbon? Do you want to buy a ribbon, for your hair? Would you want to have ice cream, which is kind of sweet, like how is it that you could comfort your inner child, something that you would have liked as a child? There are certain things, maybe it's curl up and read a book, right? That you take yourself away from the responsibility or the accountability of things, just for quiet time for ourselves. And we all know what those things are. Do something that's soft for yourself during this transit. Go with the flow, as was spoken earlier. So, a lot of these transits, they're like all like working with each other to bring you to a place where you deserve to be, where you're not holding on to those pains from the past, which is like really easy to say, let go. It's not so easy to actually let go. So, again, think about the earlier transits and what we described. Speak to someone who is going to be gentle with you, who is going to be healing with you. Don't go to the place where you already know what the outcome is going to be. We already know those people that say, oh, get over it. You don't need to go to that. Go to the person, try what it's like to go to someone else who can give you the softness that you need. And if you know that you need softness, do that. I often tell my clients also that sometimes when we're feeling hurt, that we do things that hurt us even more, because that's what we know. Instead of going to something soft, we go to something hard. So just intentionally, with consciousness, go to something soft during this transit of the 12th to the 15th.
Beautiful. Yeah. Softness, mending the heart during this transit is going to be our best friend. There is, of course, inner healing here. I received the symbol of the white dove for us in this transit. So a lot of us are grieving a lot of things. To think about the white dove. The white dove represents faith. It represents clarity. It represents peace and tranquility. So if there's any point in this transit that there's this feeling that overcomes, right? Or has been overcoming us for the past like months or years, think about the dove. The dove has a lot of wisdom to share and a lot of hope for us to remind ourselves that though there's things in love or things in our relationships or even family members for some reason are not no longer here that have crossed over, that we are starting to heal that when we think and notice the symbol of the dove. So I think that's very beautiful. When it came up, I was like, wow, okay, someone needs this, and I'm gonna share it out to the world. Yeah, and hope it heals all of us and bring peace above all things.
It's very kind and very sweet and very loving. So the last transit that we're going to talk about is Mars in Virgo trines Uranus in Taurus. And with care and finesse, this transit can be very productive for you in terms of change. This is an opportunity for you to engage in areas of life in which you've wanted to change, but may not have felt as though it was possible. And as you do this, again, it's like yin yang, there's a constant balance that needs to be maintained. Go over to the softer side. Try to go over to the softer side as you work these details. Mars in Virgo, Virgo is action oriented. Virgo gets the job done. But with Mars there's this like fire, there's this heat to it. And the image that I get is that you don't have to burn your village down in order to leave it. You can do it very kindly. You can wave goodbye, have them wave goodbye to you. Sometimes we're afraid to leave because we think that we have to make it big. It's almost like leaving jobs. Like sometimes, I know for myself, like historically, I used to be in a place where when I left a job, it was because something made me mad. And then I was able to leave the job. But now, if there's another job calling to me, or if there's something else that I need to do, I can ask for change without the bad thing happening, so that it's all in kindness, it's in goodness. And that's the energy that I want to continue to have replicated, to have, created constantly. And if you're not ready to leave things, and because this is what I'm getting is this change, this leaving during this transit, check to see what might be ready to leave you. It's all about the nouns, right? People, places, things. Just do a category check. What is it that I may be ready to release? Something that's ready to leave. It could be a job, it could be an apartment, it could be an old pattern in a relationship, not particularly that you have to leave the relationship even, it could just be the pattern in that relationship. And do so with kindness for yourself and for that other person. It doesn't have to be in anger. It doesn't have to be, it could be just this is better for me. It's like I left this relationship and because I was no longer supposed to do that thing anymore. They were no longer supposed to do that thing anymore. So this is the opportunity where we can do new things in our lives, both of us, and it could be very healthy. Yeah, go toward the health.
That's such a beautiful way, like the word change. What does that mean to us and collectively? Where have you changed and where are you looking to change? Transit comes in, think about the word change, and that will change your perspective on noticing our inhibitions, what has blocked us, right? Either we self-sabotage or either it's coming from external, but what do we need to break away? Which inhibitions we need to break away that has been in our path for a while, being receptive to change, new things coming in, flowing in. That's what it is, being receptive to that cycle, getting a lot of wisdom for us during this time, just because, with that Mars and Mercury, it's like this push to be more mental, being more in the mental space. So there does feel like there will be some information or some action that we'll need to take. Not just the theory of change, but actual action to change, if that makes any sense. So the theory of change, just the word, now we have to convert that into action with Mercury here. Also taking care of your body with Mars in Virgo, like taking care of the things of your daily routines. If you end up going another path, that's fine. But remember to come back to that thing that you were doing. It's all because we need to take care of the health, take care of the body, and help us ground. for this transit. So there's a lot of change here that will be available to us this week.
Sounds great. It sounds good. Yeah, and I want to come back and I want to hear what, you all have to say about this, like how it is it, affecting you. We both do consultations. So we'd love to talk to you. Questions, right here, you can ask us questions. Let us know. Let us know how this affected you. Were you able to see your path during one or two of these transits, or just the whole week together, like a more of a comprehensive look at. So we both do consultations, we do tarot, we do astrology, readings, depending on what spirit comes to us and want, their information to be channeled for you. Yeah, so think of us, we'll be thinking of you. And anything you want to add before we end?
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Sabor Astrology. We love your presence here. And like T had mentioned, ask your questions. Feel free to comment below. You can even email us individually or to our email, saborastrology@gmail.com, with any of your questions. If anything becomes unclear to you as well, please send those questions over. We're always happy to guide you and to teach. And we look forward to having you in our next episode, and con mucho sabor. Until the next one, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.